The New York City subway was its usual chaotic self, trains screeching, footsteps echoing, and the distant hum of street performers competing for attention. Keanu Reeves, hidden beneath a simple black beanie and sunglasses, blended effortlessly into the crowd. He wasn't there to be recognized. He was simply on his way home after a long day of filming. Yet, as he passed through the dimly lit corridor, a melody floated through the noise, raw, haunting, and filled with a depth that made him stop in his tracks. The sound came from a man hunched over an old, battered guitar, his fingers dancing over the strings with a skill that belied his ragged appearance. His clothes were worn, his face shadowed with stubble, but his music spoke of lost dreams and lingering hope. Keanu found himself drawn closer, captivated not just by the tune, but by the emotion woven into every note. The musician sang with a voice roughened by struggle yet beautiful in its authenticity. Keanu dropped some money into the open guitar case, but he didn't walk away. Instead, he stood there, listening until the last chord faded. The musician looked up, his eyes meeting Keanu's with a flicker of curiosity and exhaustion. "That was incredible," Keanu said quietly, his voice sincere. The musician gave a modest nod, as if compliments were just echoes lost in the tunnels. "What's your name?" Keanu asked, stepping closer. The man hesitated before answering. "Eli." His voice carried the weight of someone who had seen better days. Keanu introduced himself with a small smile, not expecting recognition. But Eli's eyes narrowed slightly, then widened with faint realization. "Wait, you're—" Keanu held up a hand, chuckling softly. "Yeah, but let's not make this about me." They talked for a while, standing amid the bustle of indifferent commuters. Eli shared snippets of his story. Once a promising musician with dreams of making it big, life had unraveled after personal tragedies and bad luck. Now, he played for spare change, hoping his music would still matter to someone. Keanu listened intently, genuinely moved by Eli's resilience and raw talent. "You shouldn't be here," Keanu finally said, his voice filled with conviction. Eli shrugged, his fingers absent-mindedly strumming his guitar. "Life doesn't always give you choices." Keanu thought for a moment, then reached into his pocket, pulling out a small card. "I know someone who might want to hear you play. No promises, but give it a shot?" Eli stared at the card, disbelief flickering across his face. Was this real, or just another fleeting encounter? Keanu gave him a reassuring nod before disappearing into the crowd, leaving Eli clutching the card like a fragile lifeline. For the first time in years, hope whispered softly in his heart. Days passed before Eli gathered the courage to make the call. The number connected him to a music producer Keanu had mentioned, a man intrigued by Keanu's recommendation. A week later, Eli found himself in a modest recording studio, nervous but determined. His guitar felt heavier than usual, burdened by the weight of his past and the fragile thread of hope tied to his future. When Eli played, the room fell silent. His voice, raw and unpolished, carried a sincerity that no studio magic could fabricate. The producer was impressed, not just by his talent but by the authenticity in his performance. After the session, Eli stepped outside, the cool air filling his lungs with something unfamiliar, possibility. Meanwhile, Keanu kept tabs on Eli's progress. They exchanged occasional texts, brief but encouraging. Keanu didn't just offer a connection, he offered belief, something Eli had long lost. As weeks turned into months, Eli's confidence grew. He recorded more songs, slowly building a portfolio that reflected both his struggles and growth. Then came the day that felt surreal, a small gig at an intimate venue in Brooklyn. Eli was the opening act, his name printed modestly on the flyer. Keanu showed up, sitting quietly in the back, his presence unnoticed by most. When Eli walked on stage, his hands trembled slightly, but as he spotted Keanu in the crowd, a steady calm settled over him. Eli played like his life depended on it, each chord a testament to survival, each lyric a chapter of his journey. The audience listened, captivated by the raw emotion pouring from the stage. By the time he finished, the room erupted in applause. Genuine, heartfelt applause. Eli's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, his heart pounding with something he hadn't felt in years: validation. Backstage, Keanu greeted him with a simple hug and a proud smile. "Told you," Keanu said softly. Eli couldn't find the words, but his gratitude was etched in every line of his face. That night wasn't just a performance. It was a rebirth. Opportunities began to unfold. Eli's story, the subway musician discovered by Keanu Reeves, spread across social media, attracting attention from music lovers and industry professionals alike. But beyond the headlines was a deeper narrative, one of perseverance, kindness, and the power of a chance encounter. Despite his rising success, Eli never forgot the subway tunnels that had been both his stage and prison. He often returned, not to play for spare change but to find other musicians lost in the shadows, offering them the same encouragement Keanu had given him. He knew firsthand how a simple act of belief could alter the course of a life. Years later, at a sold-out concert, Eli stood on a grand stage, his name now known far beyond the tunnels of New York. Before his final song, he paused, looking out over the crowd. "There's someone I owe everything to," he said, his voice steady. The spotlight found Keanu in the audience, his modest smile unchanged. Eli played the song he had first performed in the subway, the melody that had stopped Keanu in his tracks. But this time, it was different. It wasn't a song of struggle. It was a song of gratitude, of hope reclaimed and dreams reborn. The audience felt it, every note a heartbeat shared. After the show, they met backstage. No grand words were exchanged, just a knowing look, a handshake that lingered, and the understanding that their lives had forever intertwined. Keanu had given Eli a chance, but Eli had given Keanu something too, a reminder of the profound impact of simple kindness. Eli's story became a beacon for many, not just for aspiring musicians but for anyone lost in life's tunnels, searching for light. His music spoke of scars and healing, of brokenness and beauty. And Keanu? He remained the quiet catalyst, a testament to how even the smallest gestures could ripple into something extraordinary. In interviews, when asked about his fame, Keanu would sometimes smile thoughtfully and say, "It's not about the movies, it's about moments, like hearing a song in a subway that changes everything." And somewhere, Eli's music would be playing softly, a melody that once echoed through dark tunnels, now lighting up hearts around the world. Eli eventually started a foundation to support struggling street musicians, providing them with opportunities, instruments, and platforms to showcase their talent. Keanu, ever the silent supporter, contributed quietly, never seeking recognition. The foundation's annual concert became a major event, with Eli performing alongside musicians whose lives had been touched by the organization. Each year, Keanu attended, sitting in the front row, his presence a silent reminder of how it all began, with a simple act of listening. As Eli's career flourished, so did his friendship with Keanu. They often reflected on that fateful day in the subway, marveling at how life's most profound connections often come from the most unexpected places. In the twilight of his career, Eli wrote a song titled "The Stranger Who Stayed." It was about Keanu, though he never explicitly said so. The song climbed the charts, touching hearts worldwide, a tribute to the man whose kindness had sparked a new beginning. When asked about the song in an interview, Eli smiled and simply said, "It's about someone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." And somewhere Keanu Reeves was probably listening, smiling that quiet, humble smile, knowing he had made a difference, not with fame, but with kindness.